Peace, dear family. Peace, 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 community. This summer, it's on. I'm excited because 2020, we kind of stayed inside for summer programs. We kind of kept things afloat. I'm asking everybody that has a youth program, make sure you have plans to take your kids out, to give them all that they need. I think right now, this year, it's by hook or crook. One thing that I learned when it comes to youth programming, you got to have the will and wherewithal. There's never enough resources. If you have a basketball team, there's never enough resources. There's always, especially in our community, there's always going to be not enough. So plan, make it happen. 90% of it is will and determination to get it done. I've been around since 2011, and I've never not had a year that we didn't have opportunities for our youth. I've worked with lacrosse organizations. I've worked with youth organizations in public housing. I always worked with people. I worked with other organizations that were college prep programs. Wherever there's youth and wherever there is an organization, y'all make sure you ramp it up. Now, everything's not for everybody. You got some kids that'll come to an academic / enrichment program. Other kids want sports. My thing is that we got to figure out how to keep most of our kids engaged, how to keep most of our kids off the streets, how to keep young men and young women thinking about the future and opportunities. And I'm telling you, if you have a youth program and you are thinking about not running it, think again. Find some people. I would like to have, we have all kinds of virtual meetings. I would like to have a virtual meeting with youth organizations talking up what we're going to do for the youth, making information available. Now, what this is going to do, it's going to make the city alive. If you're in Bridgeport, it's going to get your city popping. There's nothing that is more enlivening than to see young people either taking the buses and going to schools or taking the buses and going to community centers, being dropped off at programs. Everybody got to be doing something. Man, let's get those youth programs rolling. Let's look at what venues in city, out of state, in city are open, and start to now put our feet to the fire and make this happen. Now I'm gonna tell you what are we gonna do. We're gonna have a summer camp, and I know a lot of times we get city funding, and sometimes we don't get city funding. We might get state funding and not get state funding. One thing I learned: find out who got the funding, and then make a proposal, an offering of what you can offer that person, and y'all go ahead and collaborate for a youth program. I remember in New Haven, big up Brother BWAC. Brother BWAC inspired me, man, many years ago. I don't even know how many years this was, but Brother BWAC Comfort, he ran a hip hop camp. We started off good, but by the end of the program, it was mayonnaise, cheese sandwiches, and what we could scrape up. But when the adults are on fire, a lot of us grew up poor, right? We grew up with very little. I didn't grow up dirt poor, but I know what food stamps looks like. I know what government cheese looked like coming to your house. I know that those things were a necessity. But one thing I can say about some parents, they did not let you know as a child that you weren't going to enjoy yourself, that they weren't going to find experiences for you. Some were free, some they couldn't afford, but they found something, either a swimming pool that was in the community or a camp program, but they found a way. My thing is that if your brain is focused on it, years ago, I read a book by Stephen Covey. It was called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And what this book taught me is to keep the end in mind. When I see my youth program, I see it thriving and flourishing. I'm always looking with one eye on the bag and the other eye on what I could do, even if I don't have the bag. So I'm going to be successful either way. Now, here at Muckmud, oh yeah, there's going to be youth programming. This is also going to be a place for some people that may need some time for their youth programs using classes, having activities. And then when we need to go out and do things, we're going to collaborate with other youth programs. Maybe you have access to a gym. We don't have that. Maybe you have access to some passes on Tuesdays to the movies. We don't have that, and you have an excess. Use social media to communicate what you have and what you offer and find another youth program. Listen, if one of us wins, we all win. So I will be going around guest speaking. I always like to guest speak and be an inspirational speaker to the young brothers and sisters, because I'm going to use what I got to get what I need for my kids. So if that means I got to come and I got to speak at your program and take the proceeds and do something here, I'm going to do that. If that means that I may have to volunteer so that you can come and volunteer and put your time in our youth program, I will do that. Now, there's never been a summer that I didn't work with the youth. I can't remember going back when I was a high school or teacher. I taught 7th and 8th grade in the summer. I did Upward Bound. I did Gear Up. And when I became independent, there was always something going on at Muckmud. You want to complain about crime? You want to complain about what's not happening in our city? Then create an opportunity or network and collaborate. I'm telling you, I don't waste too much time complaining about what people aren't doing, know what the mayor is not doing, what the governor is not doing. I know with the help of parents and community what I can do. And I've never not done something for the youth. As long as I've been around, the youth have had something. That's where my energy is right now. So I'm asking, y'all don't, I don't believe in can't do, not possible, impossible. That's not my language. My language is by June, what is the last day of school? By June 21st, 25th, we putting things in motion. We got money in place. We got trips in place. We got materials in place. Everything from construction paper to glue sticks to boards to Chromebooks, that's all in place. We're going to get some more Chromebooks. We're going to do all of those things that we got to do to make sure our youth have experiences. What are the websites that they could tune in? Whether it is STEM websites or art websites, or maybe they fall short in academics. And we can cooperate with someone who has recreation, and the children do 45 minutes to an hour of academics on a daily basis, but we work together. I don't want to call any names because I don't know who's who, but I know if you are networking, if you are collaborating, if you are about the youth, I'm down with you. If you are sincere, and if you ask, I have never, ever not had a program for the youth going back. Muckmud started in 2011, and from 2012 to now, we've always worked with the youth. We worked 1 year with brothers and young brothers and sisters in PT, young brothers and sisters in Trumbull Gardens. And I got the idea, like I said, years ago, I worked with a brother called BWAC in New Haven. We worked out of some projects, and we had a hip hop camp. We got a little bit of money. We put some of the money up ourselves. But we ran the camp even when the city resources dwindled. It was our will. It was our inspiration to make things happen for the youth. When it comes to young people, we find a way. If we got to go get material on Craigslist, maybe we can't afford balls from even, we can probably get them from Walmart, but say we can't afford, certain types of materials. Then we go to thrift and get them. Maybe we can't afford bus rides, but wait a minute. What local churches, what people have vans and buses that we can put together and send children out of the city, out of the state? We got to start thinking now. It's March 26th. Now I'm going to close. One of the things that I learned in the book, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, and I consider myself effective in a lot of areas, especially when it comes to youth programs. Start with the end in mind. When I talk to a lot of youth, I used to tell them, have a backwards plan. That means you have to see yourself now with the youth program and then plan backwards. Okay, I'm at the park 3 days a week. Let's go back. What does it take to get here? Permit. What does it take to make sure that we get a permit? Paper. What does it take to make sure we have enough kids? Permission slips. What does it take to make sure that we get permission slips? We have to make sure that we get this out by a certain day. If we're going to be out there for 3 hours, we got to feed the children. What vendors can we work with that are reasonable and parents can't afford certain lunches? You got to have a backwards plan. If you serious, you can't start in June and say, get a couple balls, we're going to throw it around and have fun. No, our young people are too important for that. Plan. If you fail to plan, you will fail to perform. So my wife, what she does now, she starts putting down, and big up to Cherie. She starts putting down on paper already what she's going to do, permission slips, program, how many weeks, what exactly she's going to do for the trips. So I'm asking youth programs. Now, some youth programs are seriously funded, because they might be tied into the state, they might be tied into the Board of Ed. But I've noticed that the state and the Board of Ed is not enough. We got thousands of children that we have to make sure that we have programs for. So if you have an idea and you've never run a youth program, call me, 203-440-5170. Let's talk about it. If you have never run a youth program, and you're sincere and you want to get started, call me, 203-440-5170. If you want to collaborate and you have resources, call me, 203-440-5170. If you want to donate and you want to make sure that you have that you get the credit for taxes, call me. Now, it's not all about my program. I know other people that have programs. Big up Jamar Bell. There are certain people that have programs. Big up whoever in the Terrace is running a youth program. Big up whoever is running a program out of Gary Crooks. Big up who's ever running a program in New Haven and Hartford. Those grassroots programs that are, 10 toes down, that run them out of local churches or run them out of local centers, and you don't have the funding. Let's talk. Let's network. Now, a lot of us want to get to the bag. Let's get to the bag for our babies. And let's make sure that we have a plan right now. I think by the time that there's April spring break for schools, which is that third week of April, it's my experience that your youth program should already, matter of fact, the youth program that we have here, parents have already started making deposits. We have already started putting that together. Now's the time to plan. Now, schools close. And right now, with quarantining and COVID, you can't rely on a poster in a school. Social media and school social media and mail outs and anything. This is the time to go see your superintendent, your assistant superintendent. This is the time to go see the principal of the school. This is the time that you go in that office and you knock and you let them know that you have a youth program and you desire to let students know that you, or parents know that you're running a youth program. But I envision that there'll be at least 35 to 50 solid programs in this area that I'm at, Bridgeport. That's not enough. You're talking about thousands of children. And I don't know any program outside of maybe your school programs, which I don't know if those school programs are going to be run. But our children have been cooped up for a whole year. They've been cooped up for 12 months now. They need outlets and need outlets for their mental health. They need outlets for their physical health. They need outlets so that they can express their gifts and their talents, and we are the ones to channel it. So April, third week of April, those of us that are serious about youth programs, we should have our stuff ready and out there. Flyers, the whole nine. Give parents options. Now, the reason why I say we need 50 or more is because this year we can't pack a whole lot of kids together. We're still social distancing. So if parents got options, if we can get 7 children or 12 children here, 15 children here, then all of our children will have something to do. So I gotta go, but what I'm saying to you now is make sure the youth got something to do, family. You know, idle mind, they said, is a devil's workshop. Nothing to do, looking around. And the only thing to do is doing something that you know is counterproductive. Now, the other thing is, a lot of times we have our children from K to 5. That middle school, early high school group, let's plan for them too. And let's make sure we have things to do for our middle schoolers and our early high schoolers. In fact, the high schoolers that are over 16, they could work for us, volunteer for us, so that they can assist their younger children. So now we got the older children occupied, and then the younger children have a program. This way we affect families and affect communities and affect real change. See how I'm always thinking? Always about the youth. Let's make this happen. Huh? Let's free the jail cells and free the youth incarceration programs and the juvenile delinquency programs, and now have programs where we uplift our children, help them to find their talents, their gifts, and who they are. You can make that change. And I don't care who you are, if you're interested in children, as long as you want to help children and not harm them, then we can make this happen. Again, hit me. I'm on Facebook at Muckmud LLC. I'm on Instagram at Muckmud Incorporated. I'm available at 203-440-5170. And you can hit me on email at muck.mudd@yahoo.com. That's muck.mud@yahoo.com. So I'm expecting all of us at this point to roll up our sleeves, get busy, put together youth programs, and it's not going to take a whole lot. But if each of us does our part, and never think that if you put your mind towards something, that resources won't be given. Do you know if you have a vision? Remember, Stephen Covey said, start with the end in mind. And you envision the end in mind, every thought, every action will be geared towards making sure what you want to put together happens. I'm living example of that. Living example. There's not a day that doesn't go by that I'm not able to help families and children, and I never cry about resources. If they're there, I find them. I thank my parents for taking money out of their pocket. But if they can take some out of their pocket, then I'll go there extra and find resources to help them. Let's do it. This is a community effort. And let me say this, community don't mean we all have to get out there in a physical huddle. Community just means we have to all have the same idea and use Facebook, use Instagram, use Twitter, and let us put ourselves out there and continue to say, hey, I have a program. It'll be starting on this day. This is what I need. This is what I have if you have a program. And let's start putting it together for our children. Remember, third week of April, we should have our programs together. And by the time the end of April comes, we should be presenting these programs to schools, to religious places, to community centers, to parents. Here, if you have a program, you can drop off flyers and brochures here. We have a good network of parents that can go out and get the word out and make it happen. This year, we happen to have a little bit of extra funding coming to us because of our hard work, and we put in the applications, and thankfully, we are getting something out of it that we could use for our children. Peace and blessings, love and light. I'm fired up. I'm waiting to see, family, what we're going to do for our youth this year. All right? Peace.